y'all, it's SpringRae. I am here back with part 2 of The Glory. Part 2 of The Glory came out on Netflix a couple of days ago, so I was trying to purposely give everyone a chance to catch up on that before I did a review of the second part. So if you have not seen The Glory and you plan on watching, please click away from this video because I'm about to do a whole bunch of spoilers and I'm not good with like trying to hold back on spoilers. So watch this after you finish all of The Glory. So yeah, Glory part 2 was interesting. I was glad to be able to finally finish it, and I actually was able to watch this a little bit faster than the first the part 1. So that made me happy that I actually had some time to watch it all the way through. I didn't, because I have a hard time of remembering if I have to watch it in pieces. So what can I say about The Glory part 2? We ended on the cliffhanger of, kind of figuring out what happened to Mayungo, because at the end you kind of saw that somebody had like knocked him out and it looked like somebody had killed him. So that's kind of where part 1 left off. I will say, and I'm not doing a review of like the whole show, this is more of my reaction, let me make that clear. I will say that overall I felt like The Glory it's definitely a great K-drama to watch. It's a different different storyline, which I appreciate. I always appreciate different storylines. I hate watching the same story over and over and over again. So I feel like it's a great storyline. I think it does a good job of kind of seeing the effects of bullying on people, and it should send a message that, you never know what somebody's going to do this day and age. If you decide to bully someone, don't be surprised if they pull a Dungan on you and get their revenge. So let's start out with Dungan. I feel like in part 2 she still had kind of like that chip on her shoulder. She was still kind of she was moody and still seeking her revenge. I don't know, I'm trying to think. Dungan, for me, I mean, it's her show, she was there, but I don't know, I felt like I was getting more from the other characters, more so the bullies. So I feel like I was getting more acting from the actress that plays Yeonjun, definitely more from the actress that plays Choi Hae-jung, Lisa Ra. I was getting a lot more from them. Maybe it's just because, Dungan was kind of in her comfortable space because she was now hooked up with the doctor, aka towards the end, I guess her boyfriend, Yeojung. Oh, I'm sorry, not Yeo. Yeah, Jo Yeojung. So I feel like just because he was helping her all of a sudden in part 2, that she didn't do as much on her own. So I don't know, Dungan in this part 2 is kind of like I just didn't see her do as much as her doctor friend did. He did a lot, like, with putting Yeojun to sleep and kind of working things out for Dungan, getting this morgue where they keep the bodies for her. So I just felt like Dungan was she almost seemed absent in the part 2. And it's like the doctor almost picked up as the main character, or I got lipstick on my teeth. The main protagonist, I guess you could say, in part 2. I kind of missed the interaction between Dungan and Miss Kong in part 2. I love their interaction in part 1. And I forgot to mention, y'all, Miss Kong, she deserves like a round of applause. I don't know why, because I love her character. She was one of my favorite characters in The Glory. Honestly, I think I liked her more than Dungan. Honestly, she just was a strong character. she had been through a lot and she made it out in the end. And so she's kind of like, you know, the underdog, rooting for the underdog in any situation. I'm a sucker for that. So I really liked her character, but I missed her working with Dungin in part 2, because by that time Yeojin finds out that she's helping Dungin, and now she's kind of having to do what Yeojin tells her. But let me tell you, Miss Kong, she came back after Yeojin, you know, things were melting down, her life was just falling apart. Miss Kong came up and bit a boop 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 boop, and I just felt so good for her to like finally be able to, you know, release her frustration, because she was, reminding you, always taking abuse from her no good husband. And I will say I teared up through the part where he was beating her. Yeah, so I immediately, like, I could not stand her husband's character. Obviously the person who is playing his character is not a bad person, but like just seeing someone just beat someone up like that, I did not like that, and I definitely did tear up during that part. But Miss Kong came out on the positive end, and I was waiting for that one part where when Dungin called her at the very end, the last episode of the very end, I was just waiting. After she had asked her if she wanted to team up again, I was glad about that, but I was like, they've got to get her one more time, like taking out that red lipstick, because I immediately saw it when she was given the lipstick. I saw that as her independence, her breaking away from her husband's control. I saw that as a big, do you call it metaphor for that? Like her freedom. And so at the end of the part 2, I was just waiting for her to take that lipstick out, and she did. They included it. I was like, yes, yes, Miss Kong, yes. So that was a highlight for me. Other highlights, I will say before I say kind of my feelings overall about part 2 and how it ended. The actual, okay, a couple of things. I'll say I'm still impressed by all the bullies, even though they were awful characters. The actors and actresses, they all played their roles very well, like their personalities very well. It was, you could just see that kind of their individual sick personalities for each one of them. So, and I don't know why, I cracked up anytime I saw Lisa Ra, because she was like so off the wall. Like the others could be off the wall, but you just didn't know which Lisa Ra you were gonna get. I will tell y'all, I thought I had seen it all, but when she took the pencil, the one thing that I did notice, now that I look back or think back, I noticed when she had gone to they were at the funeral service for, was it for Mayungo, I think? Yeah, his funeral service. I noticed that she had tied her hair up in a bun with the pencil in the back. I could clearly see that in one of the scenes, and at first I was like, why is she not using like a regular hair clip? But then I was like, oh, okay, well she's an artist. An artsy thing to do, have a pencil to hold your hair up. That was kind of a foretelling of what was to come, like a sign of what was to come. I didn't know. I was not expecting this, because Lord, Choi Hae-jung, I don't know why, I think I cheer for her a little bit just because they were so mean to her, saying like, you're gonna be the other one, like if Dungin wasn't here, we would definitely be like treating you this way. So I thought that she had it bad. I was not expecting for Lisa Ra to just come out of nowhere and jack that pencil in her neck. Anybody see that coming? Because I didn't see it coming at all. Apparently there was some teaser photos that they did for Netflix. I don't know if they did it for here in America, but apparently there's Netflix photos going around now where it kind of shows you each bully's kind of downfall, like what happens to them. And so for Choi Hae-jung, I think it shows either Dungin, I think she's like doing something around her neck area, so Choi Hae-jung gets snapped, No, not snabbed. What do you call it? Stabbed. She gets stabbed in the neck with a pencil, and I mean hard. So, and loses her voice box. Like, I mean, the doctors say towards the end, they're like, yeah, chances of recovery, probably not good for you, just so you know. It's awful. And Lisa Ra goes to jail because she just snapped, y'all, out of nowhere. And like I said, I was not expecting that at all. But not going to get into what led up to that. Choi Ha-jung had something on her that she didn't want everybody else to see. Like, honestly, between all of them, I would say that Lisa Ra actually had more dirty stuff be let out about her. I don't know. I guess her and Yeojin were kind of equal. They both had just like their stuff laid out for the whole world to see. But if I had to say whose was more embarrassing, I would say Lisa Ra. Hers was more public. Yeojin had stuff posted online about her, but Lisa Ra experienced that whole church thing. I was just like, I did feel for her with it just being so public, and like, you know, she's under the influence of drugs, so she's like not even conscious of half the stuff she's doing. So I did feel for her in that moment. But so I don't know, I think I would say Lisa Ra kind of got it worse than Yeojin, but she was also just as mean. She was just she just wasn't the leader, but she did do most of the bullying as well. What else stuck out to me? Let's go with the guys. Mayunga, he got what he deserved because they show flashbacks of him treating the other girl that could have, and I don't, this is the part I was kind of confused because I thought they showed a clip of her taking Dungan's place in high school after she left. The girl Kim, I might be mispronouncing, Kim Jeong-ran. I thought that she was bullied at the school after Dungan left by the group. But anyway, she's Siesta's manager, like in present day. And yeah, so we come to find out that Mayungo, he's not a great guy at all. He was back then, and in current day, he was harassing and assaulting Kim Jeong-ran in the store in Siesta, in the back room. And so I guess the juiciest part of part 2 would be the fact that everyone up until almost the very end thinks that Yeojin is responsible for Mayungo's murder, because we see her shoes, you know, those popular green shoes covered in blood. You think it's her that killed him, and they actually show the audience her beating his head with I thought she beat him with the bottle, the wine bottle or whatever was in that, the expensive drink, and it looked like she had killed him. That's what we thought. Then later on you find out that Kim Jeong-ran was sleeping at Siesta's in a back room, and she overheard Yeojin and Mayungo, and she actually witnessed what had happened. And by this time Yeojin had already left, and she saw that Mayungo wasn't dead yet, and he reached out to her asking her to get help for him. And homeboy, instead of playing it the right way and being nice, he starts like calling her B and just being nasty, his usual self, and like reaching out, he grabs her. I'm like, if you want help from somebody and you're on like the last leg of your life, that's not the way to do it, but that's what he chose, and he suffered the consequences because Kim Jeong-ran she's had enough. She grabs the bottle and click, 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 finishes him, you know, in Mortal Kombat, finish him. That's what she did. So, come to find out, and Dungan has a good laugh when Yeojin goes to jail. She's just like, you don't even know like the reason like that you're here. or the reason, I forget how she words it, but anyway, basically she's like, I know something you don't know. And it kills Yeojin that she does not know what Dongwon's talking about. She's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? And of course, Dongwon doesn't tell her, but Dongwon knows that Kim Jong-ran is the one that killed Myung-go. And that Yeojin got framed for it because she was also involved in hurting him. But technically, she didn't kill him. So the irony is that Yeojin, if you think about it, in a way, she technically didn't kill anyone, but her actions led to other people's death. So even with the girl that died early on, Lee Sona, you see where they show that her and Yeojin are on the roof, and Yeojin's actions, lighting her sweater on fire, led to Lee Sona trying to get rid of the fire, falling backwards and dying. So, yeah, that's the irony there with Yeojin. I honestly don't feel anything for her, except it did hurt my soul. Even for the villain of this show, it hurt my soul when I saw her, when she was in jail and walking past her mom, also because of her actions, you know, a lot of stuff happened. Mom was also in jail, and when she passed by and was just like, Mom, 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 to not be recognized by your mother in any sense, like any area, jail, outside of jail, anywhere, to not be recognized by your mom and just ignore it, that hurts. That hurt me for her. That was the only part. That was the only time I felt bad for her. And yeah, but you know, you have to look at how she used Dongwon's mom to hurt Dongwon, and so it's just like, can't feel bad for you then, because Dongwon's mom, great actress, whoever played her, but she was awful, just awful. And like, knowing that Dongwon was scared of like the flames and then setting the apartment on fire, I was just like, you were an awful woman. So I don't even want to talk about her. One of the things I noticed that, I guess, can I talk about things that, yeah, okay, overall, part 2 was really good. I think that the bullies got what they deserved. The only thing I didn't like, well, let's go into things that I thought could be improved. I thought, first thing, the bullies, they kind of touched on everyone, like how they got theirs in the end, but I felt like Jeon Jae-jun, they rushed his what happened to him, because it was like at one point he did, you know, get the Choi Ha-jung got her revenge on him because he was just a horrible man towards her, and he knew that she liked him a lot. But she got her revenge, putting the stuff in his eye drops. He got it all in his eyes. Saw him get hit by the truck, but I was just like, they kind of clipped, it just stopped there, went away from him, went to another part of the storyline, and then the next thing you know, it's like he's standing somewhere, it looks like an old factory, I don't know, and he's like blind, looking around, he can't see anything. And then obviously we know that Yeojin's ex-husband, well, on his way to be an ex-husband, what was his name again? Ha Do-young. He's the one that ends up pushing Jae-jun into the cement thing, but we don't even like get confirmation that he actually, you know, died in there. We're just assuming. I don't know. I felt like his scene could have been shot better, so we know like this is the conclusion of what happened to him. So I would have improved that. The other thing that made me kind of cringe a little bit was Dongwon's age. She seemed a lot more older than several of the characters. So I know she was like more mature acting because she had to be on her own for so long. But I felt like when, you know, any of the scenes with her and her soon-to-be boyfriend Yeojung, or the scenes with Kim Jong-ran, I didn't buy them as much because she looks so much so much older. Like, her and Kim Jong-un did not look the same age. She looked like she could be Kim Jong-un's mom. That's what threw me off a little bit. I was like, wait, they were classmates? What? I don't know. Kim Jong-un looked really young. That actress looks really young. So that's why I didn't really buy that. It didn't seem as believable. And then the same thing with Yeojung. Yeojung, I just did not like that character at all. I wish they could have just scrapped his character. Dungin didn't even have to end up with, like, even though I love Ha Do-young as far as being, like, you know, just a nice guy overall and coming out as a nice guy. He didn't betray Dungin after he knew that she was out for revenge with Yeojin, all that stuff. He even gave Yeojin, like, several chances, and she just was like, nah, I'm gonna be that bad bee and you can do whatever you want. But the boyfriend, like, he just was not cutting it for me. He looked a lot younger again than Dungin's character, or I'm sorry, than Dungin in the show, and I didn't find their relationship believable because of that. Like, when she put her hair, the actress put her hair in a ponytail, even then she looked older. Like, she did not look like a college student. She did not look to me like someone hit the doctor's age. And then I also thought the doctor looked really young. Like, the actor that plays him, his face, even though he's really tall, he's got the body of like a mid-20s, 30-year-old. His face was very boyish. And then going along with, like, his personality being kind of just like having the same expression all the time, and like it was almost like a psychotic expression to me. It just didn't feel right. Okay, so apparently my computer has limited space, so I have to speed it up. But I was speaking about Yeojung. I just don't like his character. I wish he was not in this show at all. I don't think he was needed. I feel like he was like kind of taking over part 2 a little bit too much for me, and kind of not necessarily made Dungin weaker. It's just like she didn't have as much to do, and the whole storyline with his dad's killer being in jail, I just feel like that wasn't needed. And I don't know if it was like from the creator's perspective, like he thought that a man needed to come in and save the day type of situation because it was a K-drama. But Dungin I think she could have, or the writers could have made it happen, that she could have handled things not on her own, because if you realize, Dungin had a lot of people that helped her. So no, she didn't have Yeojin's money, she didn't have any like of the money compared to all those bullies, but what Dungin had were true connections, which her bullies did not have. All of their connections, if you look, they had no supporters, even their own family. If you look at Yeojin's mom, she ended up giving her up so that she would not get in trouble and have to go to jail, and they both ended up going to jail at the end. If you look at Lisa Ra's dad, I had missed the part. I didn't realize he was in trouble for tax evasion, so I didn't realize that until he ended up being arrested. But you know, he was always just like, you need to look the part. You can't be doing these drugs. You can't be out here doing all this mess because I'm a preacher. But I missed the part that he had not been paying taxes. So again, her parents weren't really that supportive of her. They didn't really go into Myung Oh, Choi Hae-jung, and Jae-jun, their parents. I didn't see them in part 2. But yeah, Jia was not needed, y'all, and he just seemed off. Like, I honestly thought he was gonna be like a serial killer, especially when Dungin, I don't know if this was in part 1 or part 2, I think part 2, she found those knives. Like, it's just everything to him pointed out as off and weird. And then the fact where he tells her that he knew all about her plan all along, weird, and he didn't say anything about it. So I was like, technically you're lying to her. But then I think somebody had said when I was kind of trying to piece things together for myself with part 2 stuff that I didn't understand, that Dungin came out and said that she was actually using him. So I'm like, okay, wait, does she know that he knew or not? I don't know. But Jung and then his mom, like the ending, 2 things about the ending. I think that's all. One, I did not like how after Dungin completed her revenge, it made sense. After I sat there and I saw her on the rooftop, I said, well, she did get everything that she wanted out of life, which was her revenge, and to see Yeojin just fall through the crack, not through the cracks, that's not a good analogy, just come down from off her throne, right? And through the cracks. She was able to see this. And after seeing that, what else did she have, right? So I guess she didn't even take too long to think about it. And again, they did show a flashback of where she tried to drown herself earlier on too. But she's contemplating stepping over the edge. And I'm thinking in my mind, who would be there to stop her? Are they going to actually show her, taking that jump off and that be the end? But no, it ended up being someone. And I was just like, it better not be the boyfriend. And it wasn't the boyfriend. So I was like, oh, who else could it be? It's the boyfriend's mom. And I'm just like, this is just so not realistic. How did she find Dungin in that area? Why would she be out there? It was nighttime. Why is she not at the hospital? She's a doctor. People need saving, and you're out here with this woman that you don't even know. Like, her son has mentioned Dungin maybe like in metaphor. He hasn't even really talked to his mom about her like that. So I'm just like, you're out here with a complete stranger, and she's just like, please don't jump. My son needs you to be there for him. So it's like, okay, you're not even doing this for her. You're doing it for your son. And your son is weird and creepy. So that family, except the dad, unfortunately, of course, his dad, dies because of the crazy patient. The son and the mom is off because the mom even told him to help with Dungan's plan. Whereas other mothers would be like, boy, if you don't go and date just like a nice girl and move on, right? So that was annoying and just unrealistic for me. And then that was enough to convince Dungin not to go over the edge. Then you end up seeing her after 6 months get back with this guy, and now all of a sudden it's about his revenge. And I'm like, when did this become the story of Yeojin? I thought this was Dungin's story. And they better not. If they come out with a part 2, they better find another actor to play his part. I'm sorry, but I just did not care for this actor's portrayal. I don't know if they told him to portray the doctor like that, but I was just like, maybe it's the actor that they chose to play this part. I don't know. But I honestly, just looking at, I've watched maybe 1 or 2 reactions of people with the glory, and he is not likable from what I've seen. A lot of people wanted Dungin to end up with Ha-do-young, which I think I do like the fact that she did not end up with him, because I mean, ultimately that would be a little weird, even though there was that tension, the chemistry. I wish they could have stayed friends and played Go more often, but I was glad that he took Yeosol and just went on, and he's gonna be a great dad to Yeosol, so good for him. But yeah, and the other piece, last piece, I did not like the ending. They needed to change that ending. It was weird. They were both like, I love you, and walking into the prison and about to do their second plan of revenge for Yeojung to get back at this guy that had killed his dad. you know, years ago. Well, not years ago. I'm sorry. It was recent. But like, that was not the ending that I was looking for. Everything else was pretty good, except for, again, his mom showing up on that rooftop. But everyone else's story kind of closing, Miss Kong's story closing, coming to an end. All the bullies, their stories, except for Jae-joon, his was kind of ambiguous and vague, but their stories came to an end. They got what they deserved, right? Yeah. But the ending was not good. I hope they don't come out with a second season surrounded by Jia. It's not needed. Honestly, I think this would be made better if they just cut it off with Miss Kong putting on the lipstick. I think that would have been a perfect ending. Seeing them walk into the jail, it was just weird. The way they shot it was off with the sky turning. I was like, what is happening right right now? And it was vague. It was vague. Like, I'm sure I can't be the only one confused about, like, I'm assuming they were walking into jail together, and I mean, he did get a new job at the jail, but that guy's character was not realistic. Like, he was just able to do whatever he wanted to do and go from being a doctor to being the doctor within the jail, even though they knew he was trying to get a job at the jail that was where his father's killer was at. So I'm like, they should have had record of that and record of the man transferring to other facility. So they should have seen that he was transferring to that facility as well. So I don't know, but it wasn't needed. But yeah, let me know your thoughts of what you liked about The Glory. All in all, I would say it's for me 8.5 out of 10. 8.5 out of 10, just because it's different, hasn't been really done before. I haven't seen anything just like it, so that's why I really like this drama. And yeah, let me know your thoughts about this, and who your favorite character is and who your least favorite is. Any things that stood out to you. I know there's something else. There was a joke or something funny that was in this, and I cannot remember. It was in one of the episodes. I'll have to rewatch the whole thing because I was going to talk about it, but I can't remember, y'all. There was one funny line that somebody said, but Lord, I can't. You know what? Okay, I lied. I got to talk about this real quick because I just thought about it. I don't know if this was the really funny part, but this is something I do remember. It was when Jae-joon got in the fight with Ha-do-young, and you know, he had, I think it was Jae-joon's lawyer was with him, and he had been beaten up. Like, Ha-do-young was hot and like he looked real good, but like he was fighting too. He knew how to fight. That actor, he's good looking, y'all. But anyway, he beat up Jae-joon, and at one point, you know, Jae-joon's lawyer got a hold of him to pull him back, and then his lawyer let him go. And Jae-joon was like, you know, kind of like this, and he was just like, I said, let me go, and his lawyer was like, I'm not holding you back, or I've let you go, something like that. And I cracked up because I was like, that was so funny. Okay, that was all. I thought that might have been the moment that I was thinking of, but there might have been some other funny parts. So yeah, but hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching my review of The Glory Part 2. I will have my review of Sky Castle hopefully coming out within the next couple of weeks because I have to have my time away from the computer. But thank you for watching. Have a good one. Bye-bye.